Well, thank you so much for being here. My name is Pimjai Santatiwat. I'm one of the admissions counselor at University of California, Irvine. So today we're actually going to be going over just an overview of the UC system, and then we'll dive right into UC Irvine, who we are, where we are, what do we offer, and then we'll get into the technical portion of the UC application process, specifically for undergraduate programs. So we'll look at the minimum requirements, we'll look at the selectivity, and then, if you have any specific questions, because I know that we have a few maybe seniors here today. So if you have any questions, if you have already started your application, definitely we'll talk about that. But it should be pretty straightforward. So we'll get started. Okay, so UC system, as you know, we're a public research universities in California. And there are three main missions as part of the UC. First one is teaching, of course. We're education institutions, and so we're here to teach. And part of the teaching requires that our professors conduct their researches in the disciplines that they're working on and that they're specialized in. And so that's where the knowledge and discoveries come in, because those are the backbone of our institutions, actually. They're the ones that are, discovering new knowledge. They're the ones that are going to share those knowledge with our students. And as part of those knowledge, we also encourage our students to apply them, right? So this is part of the applied learning. And that goes all the way, from undergraduate all the way through graduate programs. And that's brings in the third mission, which is public service, because we encourage students to not only that they come in and they learn, right, and they share their knowledge with their peers, with their faculty members, but you also have the opportunities to share that back to the community, right, or create your own projects or your own different missions that will help cultivate your interests as well. So those comprise of, that's our three missions for the UC system. As far as the campuses goes, we do have 10 campuses altogether. So you can see UC San Francisco does not offer undergraduate programs. Okay, they have amazing programs in like pharmacy, dental school, medical school, but you notice as some of you do your own research on the side that you find other UC campuses also offer graduate programs too. For students who are interested in undergraduate studies, on the application, you can apply to all 9 campuses if you want to, okay? And our locations are pretty much spread throughout California. As you can see on the slide, the highest is the farthest from Irvine, if you can say, is Davis. And then Berkeley is very close to San Francisco. Santa Cruz is by the beach. It's beautiful. Merced is actually the youngest campus, but they have grown tremendously in the past few years, and they're getting more selective. So don't think that, if you're applying to Merced, you're always going to get in. Santa Barbara is another beautiful location right by the beach as well. UCLA, of course, everyone have heard of them. Irvine, which is the campus I represent, Riverside, and then San Diego is the lowest location out of all geographically. And so that's the 10 campuses. Oh, and I want to mention a little bit about the UC campuses. We're all amazing universities. Even though I, can speak to Irvine campus, I encourage everyone to do, your homework, right? This is very critical part of your period where you are pretty much discovering different universities that could be part of the options that you will eventually submit an application to. And once you select your select the university of your choice to attend, that's going to be the next 4 years of your life. It's a big deal. So just because maybe someone who has attended UC Berkeley, it may or may not be a good fit for you. right? Because each of the campus that we have, it's very uniquely different in terms of personality, and some of these personalities have been shaped by the location, shaped by the majors and programs that we have, shaped by the faculty and the researches that they've done. So for example, we're the only school that has our own School of Information and Computer Science. What does that mean? We have a very strong faculty committee and also resources available for students who are interested in, for example, computer game science, data science, right? Computer science, informatics, so on and so forth. But also, for example, San Diego, because of its location, they're also known for their oceanography, right? And the list goes on. I do not have all the information for all campuses, but it is up to you. It's actually your responsibility to do all those research and find out which of the campus that has the personality that will most fit you. Because usually students learn the most and grow the most in the environment that is comfortable to them, okay? And when I talk about environment, it can be the class size, it could be the way faculty, interact with students, the student support services available, the dorm life, right? So the list goes on again, but I just want to make sure that you understand that each of the campus has their own unique personality. As far as UC Irvine, we're right in Orange County. It's a county that's next to Los Angeles. It takes about 45 minutes drive to downtown LA on a good no traffic day, right? But if you know Los Angeles is notorious for traffic, so on a very bad day during rush hours, of course, it can get up to like 2 hours at most to get to downtown LA if you draw the bad card. But otherwise, it takes about 45 minutes. If you want to fly over to LAX, it also takes about 50 minutes to an hour to get to UC Irvine. And where the unique feature about our campus is that we're located right between Los Angeles and San Diego. So technically we're in the middle between those two major metropolitan cities. What does that mean for students? It means that students can look for different career opportunities outside of Irvine. They can look at, and there's actually another slide that will show you all different companies in the area as well. But I just want to touch on the fact that it gives you that extra opportunities for some of you who are interested in companies that may be located in Los Angeles or companies that are located in San Diego. And you're more than welcome to explore those options. And those are all within driving distance, right? So you're not pretty much stuck within the vicinity of Orange County or Irvine. You can drive up to LA. You don't have to necessarily relocate, right, or move out of campus. Even if you have an internship in Los Angeles or downtown LA or even in Santa Monica, you can still commute. So there's a beauty in being like in the middle between those two major cities. And that's a picture, an aerial view shot of our campus. We joked about this earlier, is that you can really be at UC Irvine and you're that close to the beach. It's about 15 minutes away, and if you look north of the campus during like winter season, you can see a snow cap. So you can go up to the mountain, right? Go snowboarding in the morning, come back down, and still go to the beach for like a bonfire or something at night. So you can get all those done in a day. So it's a very beautiful campus. We're located in a more suburban area, which means they're mostly single-family homes. A lot of apartments available for students who are in sophomore, junior, and senior who can move into after the first year in the dorm. UC Irvine, we have been around for only 50 years, so we're considered a pretty young campus compared to like UC Berkeley or UCLA, but we have grown exponentially. We have roughly around 30,000 students right now. and 24,000 of those are undergraduate students. Okay, it's and the way the layout of the campus, it makes the students feel like they're in a small campus. Because if you ever get the chance to come to our campus, there is a park right in the middle of the campus. And this is actually a shot of Aldrich Park. So students are able to kind of like, go relax, read a book, study, or even take a nap, or even like, go get a tan if they want to. Between classes in Aldrich Park, and that's just right in the middle of our campus. So it's very serene, and it creates that sense of like, warm environment and inviting and welcoming, and it encourages and allows students to really just relax, right, between classes. So why UCI? I get this question all the time. It's like, what makes UC Irvine better than fill in the blank? And so I want to point out a few things that I have observed and witnessed. And so we're just going to go through these 4 factors. First one is recognition. Second is academics. Third one is research. And then the last one is community. Okay, so we'll go through all of that. When it comes to recognition, I know that some students, especially parents, you guys are concerned about the ranking, where is UCI in the top 100? So I do have to point out that we're ranked number 11 right now by US News and World Reports, and among all the best public universities. Okay, so for fun facts, we're actually ranked number 11, which is the same ranking as University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. So, just for kind of your point of reference, we're right up there with other top public universities. And we're number 49th among all the national, public, and private as well. Can you guess what's number 1 as far as public university goes? There you go, yes. And second, I think you're thinking it, but maybe you don't want to say it. It's a UC as well. Right. There you go. So UC Berkeley and UCLA pretty much secure the top 2 of the ranking in this category for the public universities. But if you look at the list, I would say more than half of the UC universities secure like the top 12 of this ranking. So in that sense, just to go back to my point earlier, is that all the UC schools are great. We have amazing faculty, and the quality of education is great. It's a matter of finding the right fit for you. We also landed number 1 in the US as far as universities under the age of 50. So like I say, we're celebrating 50th anniversary this year. So by next year, we won't be able to, be part of this ranking because we'll be 51. But this is amazing because we've landed as number 1 in the past 3 years. So that just goes to show how far we have come, all the recognition, the research, and the quality of education and the student resources that we offer to students. And it really shows through this ranking by Times Higher Education. And we're also number 1 coolest school. You're like, what? How does that work? Coolest school in terms of being the greenest, okay? The most environmentally sustainable university. And it's not just a matter of recycling or conserving water. It's a lot more in terms of the researches that have been done as part of the university initiative to be sustainable, right? We have installed solar panel in many of our buildings. We also teach different programs and classes to our students as far as what it takes to help sustain the planet, right? There's also a lot of research in climate change. What do we do to as far as water conservation, energy efficiency, and sustainability? So it takes the entire university and student participation to be able to land in this number 1 coolest school. So for those of you who are thinking of like, oh, I want to be part of that. I want to be part of that change, right? Because I mean, if you think about global warming, that's a huge issue that everybody faces now. So part of the university is that we want to be part of that change. We want to help students understand what does that mean for the next generation. What can we do, right? What are some of the new things that we can do? Or maybe students can take part in advocating to policymakers, right? Especially nowadays, you know, in California, there's huge drought issues. So that's just one of the ways that, you know, we participate and engage in changing policy to help conserve like natural resources. That's just an example. And so it's just amazing that, you know, our university are able to take part in that and landed as #1 in sustainability. Some of you have the booklet. This is for you. So in the booklet, we have a list of all the majors. And we have well over 80 majors and 65 minors. You know, some of you are thinking like, okay, what's the most popular majors, right? That's like #1 questions when students looking at the school. It's like, what's the most popular majors? I want to say like every major is popular. Every major is really good. But if you really need to know like what, you know, which school has the most students, I would say that our School of Biological Sciences has the largest students enrolled. Second would be School of Engineering, along with School of Humanities. And you'll probably be surprised, like, what do you mean School of Humanities? Many of our students are interested in more than just, you know, one topic or one area of discipline. And that's why School of Humanities comes in, because there may be students studying in engineering, but they're also interested in studying Asian American studies, or they're interested in biological sciences, but they're also interested in international studies. So that's where School of Humanities comes in, and they offer those different disciplines. The next largest one would be School of Social Sciences and Social Ecology, because they offer business economics, right? They offer majors such as criminology, law and society, psychology, and social behavior. But all the schools are great. I mean, it's so hard to pick like which one is better than which. And talking about interdisciplinary studies, we encourage students to explore different sides of, you know, your interests, right? Nowadays, it's rare, unless you're going for like a pre-professional career like engineering. If you want to become a doctor, if you want to become a lawyer, there's almost like a set major that you have to take, or set courses you have to take in order to be eligible for those career paths. But if you want to be a consultant, you're like, what major, is there a consulting major? The answer is probably not. You have to mix and match what you're interested in, and then choose what kind of industry you want to be an expert in order to be a consultant, right? So we encourage students to take on interdisciplinary studies, and this is by, let's say, double major, taking on the interdisciplinary minors such as global sustainability. We were just talking about coolest schools, right? Civic and community engagement, that's another one. Or even like gender and sexuality studies. These are all part of the interdisciplinary programs that we have, and we encourage students to do so. And even if students do a double major, or let's say a major and 2 minors, most of our students still graduate within 4 years. On average, 4 years and 1/4. Don't ask me where that 1/4 comes in, but that's the average. Okay. For graduate programs, we also have similar programs that, you know, it kind of like translate all the way through graduate degrees. So, you know, network systems, transportation science, and so on. We talk a little bit about professional programs. We have all of these as part of undergraduate as well as graduate. Okay. So we talked a lot about, what did we talk about? We talked about the recognition, right, as why you would choose UC at Irvine. We talked about academics, what are some of the programs that we offer? The next thing I want to point out is research. And actually, this goes to all the UC campuses, because every single University of California campus has research programs, opportunities, okay? And so as you know, all of you are considering University of California, you should also be considering a research that you want to be part of, all right? It's almost like, I just gave an example to a class this morning. It's almost like you go to the top sushi restaurant in Japan, right? And the sushi chef's probably looking at you, be like, okay, you're probably gonna wanna order the best sashimi or something. And then you go in and you ask for a plate of French fries. I mean, it's almost like, why would you go to the best sushi place and ask for French fries? That's not what they're known for. And so that's just to give you like a basic example. When you come to UC campuses, whichever one it is, you should engage in our research programs. And approximately at UC Irvine, we have well over 2,000 students who participate in research every year. Most of the research opportunities that are available, it's a year long. Okay, it's a year-long commitment, because you have to get acclimated to what it takes to kind of like to be you have to get acclimated to the research that the professor is conducting, the topic that, you know, they're introducing you to, and also kind of like the project that you will be handling. So there is a progress to everything. And so that's why usually the minimum commitment is 1 year. All right. Not only that, we offer all these opportunities on campus along with the professors that we have, we also offer them off campus. We partner with different organizations and even other research universities. So even like MIT, UCLA, Berkeley, Purdue, those just to name a few, all the way through like NASA, Chevron, right? Big companies. So you're not just limited to what we have on campus. The network of the UC system allows you to explore the research platform across the country. And so that's why it's, I mean, like I say, it's a backbone of the University of California system, and that should be your main reason why you choose to apply to any of our schools. The last point I want to make as far as what makes UC Irvine different is the community that we have. And I don't know if you know, but UC Irvine is ranked #1 as far as the safest city in America. And this has been ranked by FBI, and we have landed as #1 in the past 10 years, which is amazing because this ranking goes only to the city with population over 100,000 residents. And you know, many of you are thinking like, well, safety, that's not a big deal. But nowadays, it becoming more popular, like you turn on the news and you're kind of like, oh, there's another shooting, or there's, you know. So I'm sure like your parents would be concerned sending you away so far. You may not have relatives or friends nearby. And so safety is part of the big concern for most of your parents. So that means that if you walk around at night on campus or off campus, chances are you're going to be safe, okay, because of this ranking. And part of like our police department, it's integrated into Irvine Police sanction, what do you call it? Sanction. And so they come and they patrol the campus as well. So it's not just the campus police; it's actually the city police that work alongside with ours. When it comes to living on campus, we have dorms available for freshman students. Your freshman students are not required to live on campus first year, but we highly recommend. About 80% of our students live on campus, and after your first year, usually students decide to move off campus. They go into, you know, apartments either on campus or off campus. And we have well over 600 student clubs and organizations, so it's a good way to connect to UCI community right? To find kind of like the niche that you might belong to. Maybe some of like the interests and passions that you have in high school that could carry over to your college experience, right? So it doesn't have to stop at college, high school level. So those are all available. When it comes to other parts of campus life, we are NCAA Division I school, and so we have 18 sports available. If you guys, any of you are interested, you can certainly come in for a tryout. It is competitive, and we're mostly known for our men's volleyball, our water polo, women's volleyball, and this year men's basketball. So we went to the dance, and then we lost the first round, unfortunately. But we did go to the dance, so that was awesome. Which is kind of like, fun fact, like the only thing that makes us different from, remember I talked about University of Illinois, right, is that we don't have a football team. So if you're into football, we don't have a football team. We also, as part of the community, we offer tons of support to our students, and you're going to find this useful when you go to any college, is that when you go to classes and when you live on campus, it's not just about classes, going to lecture, doing your homework, and going back to the dorm. It's going to be more of getting involved and taking advantage of the resources that we have, whether it's tutoring or networking with your peers through, let's say, International Center, Cross-Cultural Center, or even Career Center, right? Because you're here studying at a university, your goal is not to just stay there forever. Your goal is to graduate and move on, and hopefully you'll be able to land the job that you want, right? And so these support services will be crucial to you as part of your overall college experience. So slowly you're gonna get to know all these different centers that offer services to you, and especially Career Center. We host 4 career fairs every year, and 2 of these fairs we split engineer and computer science students into a different fairs, meaning that those students will get the employers who are here to recruit engineers and programmers, right, only. And so for students who are thinking of getting to like corporations or getting to business, or they're looking for a career in psychology, right, any disciplines other than engineering and computer science, programming related jobs, you're going to have employers who are recruiting for your line of work and your expertise. So you're not going to get all diluted with other students. So there's a beauty in having those split up, right? So you have all the attention from employers that are looking for ideal candidates. And that's probably, with all the resources in the community and the environment that we have at UCI, it really helps students move along in their school progress, in their kind of like, personal growth progress, right? Because when you go to college, when you go to university, you're really becoming independent, right? You're growing as an adult. You're not going to be a teenager anymore, because when you go to college, you're what, 17, 18, right? You're a teen. But once you graduate, you're what, 22? You're no longer a teen. So all these transitions are happening, and you'll see that most of our students are able to move along that progression academically and personally, and also professionally as well. And that's why we have a high graduation rate of 71% in 4 years. And that's really high compared to some of the schools in the US, okay? And most of the time, international students have no problem getting in classes, getting all the support they need to pass those classes, and also getting all the help in order to secure like an internship or whatnot. I work with a few of the international student ambassadors whom I hired actually to work in admissions office. And in the end of their second year, they already landed in internship positions. Like there's one that is now working, actually she just finished it, working in Toyota. It's like branch office of Toyota in Irvine area. And so that's just like one of the opportunities that you get to experience even as an international student. I don't know, some of you are maybe holding like Korean passport. Some of you are like also holding like, you have like dual citizenship, right? But just know that the options are available and it's not limited even for international students. And this is just an example. I don't know if you can see in the back, but these are just some of the branch offices of different companies in the area. We have Google office in Irvine and 2 more Google office in LA County, meaning that there's one in Santa Monica and one in Beverly Hills, and then one in Irvine, which is like down the street from us. We also have the headquarters of Blizzard. Anybody know Blizzard? They're the maker of WoW, World of Warcraft. All the ladies in the back are like, I don't care about game, but they used to be on our campus, and so they work closely with our students, and that's probably why our computer games science is ranked #1 in the U.S. We also have Broadcom. We also have the 3 of the big 4 companies, right? The accounting firms, Ernst & Young, Deloitte, right? We have also Boeing, which is down 30 minutes away from us in Long Beach. If you're interested in working for Walt Disney, Warner Brothers, or getting into like entertainment industries, that's just like in Hollywood, that's about like an hour away from us. So these are just some of the examples and of different companies in the area. Because sometimes we think about like all these major Fortune 500 companies. Yes, their main headquarters might be in New York City, or they might be somewhere in Silicon Valley. But you have to remember that this major corporations requires a lot of manpower to run the company. And so they have all these branch offices all over the US. And most of the time you find that they are right here in Los Angeles, Orange County, and San Diego. So you still have the same opportunities. Maybe they might not have as many of like vacancies, to hire employees every, I don't know, so often, but the opportunities are here, right here in your backyard, right in Irvine. So I just want to point that out. And this is why it's so important that you guys do research, right? As far as like, okay, if I go to California, what are some of my opportunities? This is, maybe you have a company in mind that you're like, I really want to work for them. Do they have a branch office in the area that I'm going to be, spending the next 4 years? So make sure you do a little research, and that will help you tremendously when you make a decision on which university you'll attend. I love this picture. And this is really a true reflection of like our students. We're like, they're so happy all the time. I don't know why. Maybe because we're so close to the beach. But we have like 150,000 alumni worldwide. So as part of being, being the UC, part of like the UC alumni, you get to connect with these alumni, right? Whether back here in Korea or like in California or across the US. And these are the people that will hopefully, will help you get that job. I mean, how many of you know someone who got a job because they know someone who works there? I mean, that happens all the time. And university is a good platform where you can network, right? You don't just go to class and then go home and sleep, or you don't just go to class, go to library, study alone, and then go to sleep. You go to class, you make friends, and then you go to student clubs and make more friends, and then you maybe work on campus and make even more friends, right? And then you make more friends in the dorm. And that's how you build your network. So by the time you graduate, guess what? You have like 1,000 more friends on your Facebook. And then, and then you'll be able to network with them that way for whatever reason, and also beyond, right? After you graduate and you have this strong alumni connection. And not just UC Irvine. When you go and meet someone from, let's say, UCLA, right? You're like, oh, I went to UC Irvine. And that also creates like an instant connection as well. So just bear in mind that, you know, even though each of the UC campus functions as its own, like, you know, individual campus, but we're also part of like a big family too. Just to go over some points that we talked about. So why UCI? Recognition, we talked about that. Academics, different majors that we offer, the research, which is the backbone of the UC system, and then the communities. For those of you who came in late, definitely I will be able to share the PowerPoint with you so that you can kind of go over that yourself. But even though these are like those 4 strong points that I want to share with you as far as like why UCI might be a good fit for you, chances are not all of you are going to come to UCI, right? But this could definitely be an option for you. This could be a school which you will do research on, right, to see if this is right for me. Do they have the personality that I will fit in well and really enjoy and be comfortable in the next 4 years? So let's talk about UC admissions, because if those information that I presented pique your interest at all, you probably want to know how to get in, right? That's a pretty important part that you have to go through, because if you don't get in, then you can't really say yes to us. When it comes to UC application, it's available starting August 1st of every year, okay? The deadline has not changed. The deadline to submit your UC application is November 30th. You have exactly 1 month to click that submit button. So you can create your online application starting August 1st. Take your time filling out the information, writing your personal statement, writing out everything that we ask of you. But you have from November 1st through November 30th to click that submit button and send the UC application to us. Once again, you can apply to all 9 campuses using the same application, which means, let's say you want to apply to all 9 campuses, but your dream school is UCLA. You definitely don't want to say on your personal statement that I really want to go to UCLA, knowing that you are going to send your application to the rest of the 8 campuses as well. Because let's say I'm reading your application and you say UCLA is it's the school of my choice. It might not, sit well with the readers, right? So make sure you be more broad as far as the message you're trying to get across, and tell more about yourself, not so much of like, I really want to go to so-and-so, campus. For each campus that you submit your application to, it's $80. So it can get pretty expensive if you want to send to all 9 campuses, but then again, that could increase your chance of admissions. When it comes to graduate application, you'll submit your graduate application directly to the department of your program. So it's not, and if you're applying to other campuses, then it will be a separate application, okay? So it doesn't have the same share application like the undergraduate level. Most of the UC campuses have adopted comprehensive review process. And we look at everything broadly. So how many of you are applying to UC this year? 2. And the rest of you later, next year? Are you in junior or junior? Okay. And you're applying to graduate? No? Okay. Yes. Okay. Well, we can talk about that later too. But when you apply to UC campuses, what they're going to look for is that they're going to look at everything, meaning that yes, your GPA is definitely important. Your SAT or ACT scores are important, but also your activities, activities that you've been involved in. If you have taken any coursework outside of school, those are equally important as your test scores, Okay, so do not discount anything that you've been participating in. For example, if there's like an after-school programs, or if you have volunteered, or if you have studied abroad and did some sort of like, I don't know, like social work or something like that, then definitely those will count towards, you know, a comprehensive review that we use to make a selection. When it comes to selection, though, each of the UC campus does their own selection, meaning that if you've been admitted or denied to a campus, it does not impact the decision at another campus. We have a way of, you know, looking in to see if you've been admitted to, let's say, UC Berkeley, but we're not going to base our decisions on that, okay? So when you do apply, we're going to ask your personal information, right, on the application. We're going to ask that you report your grades and the courses that you have completed or you're currently working on in high school. So one unique thing about the UC application is that everything is self-reported, meaning that we will not request official transcripts from you. We will not request letters of recommendations. So if you have taken, let's say, calculus class in your senior year, or you're currently taking calculus in your senior year, you want to make sure that you report that, right? If you have, I don't know, like a D grade in your ninth year, and you know, you feel like, oh, I don't want to put that down, but because everything is, I mean, you have to be as accurate as possible. You have to put that down because we're going to verify everything later. Even though it's self-reported, you should not omit any information. Everything that you report, that you enter on the application, should reflect the official documents that we will receive later on. Okay. We do not superscore for any of the SAT or ACT. So we will only use the highest total scores from a single test administration. And you can choose to take SAT or ACT. If you feel like you're not sure which one you'll do better, you can take both and then send all scores to us. We will ignore the lower scores, and we'll only use the highest scores. So don't feel like embarrassed or feel like if you send in the lower scores, it's going to jeopardize your admissions. It would not, because we do not look at that. Okay. We talked about activities and honors and awards. For international students, there's limited scholarships, and this goes to all the UC campuses. There may be some merit-based scholarships based on your GPA and your SAT or ACT scores, but oftentimes there's not a lot of scholarships available. So if there is, you may be contacted directly by the department of the major in which you're applying, and there may be a supplemental scholarship application that you have to fill out to be eligible for those scholarships. For supplemental application materials, like I say, because UC campuses, we do not accept any letters of recommendations. We do not accept official transcripts during application period. So don't send those in unless you're requested directly by that specific campus. They may be some of the majors that you might apply into that require supplemental application, but that will be instructed to you as you fill out the application. Does it make sense? Personal statements. This is kind of like the essay portion, right, of any application, any university application that you're going to be filling out. So for us, the way it's structured is that we encourage you to use this portion of the application as part of your interview. right? Meaning that, think about like job interview. You're sitting across from your future employer, right? And you want to tell everything, every accomplishments, every skill set that you are so proud of, that you want them to know, every experience, anything that you have overcome, right? The challenges and all that. So this is the part where you have to boast a little bit about yourself. You're not exaggerating about your accomplishments, but you have to share everything that, or actually the most important thing that for you in this personal statement portion, right? Because we're not going to know what you've done by just reading the application. The personal statement is when you can tell us, is where you can tell us the stories, right? You can elaborate on the awards maybe that you have been given, and you want to elaborate on how hard, you know, it took you to earn that award, and what that means to you now and moving forward in whatever direction you take, right? It might inspire you to do something else to the community, right, after you receive that award. Or it could be a challenge that you have overcome. Maybe you struggle in, I don't know, a class or something, and you feel like, you know, you have gone through this tremendous like challenges in your life, and you have overcome these challenges, and you can talk about how you have overcome these challenges and what your new perspective is as far as moving forward, right? So there's always kind of like what had happened, how you've overcome it, and what's next, right? In every story. So this is a part where you share with us, because we're not going to be calling your counselors or your teachers and be like, hey, can you tell us more about this student? Because many of the UC campuses, we received like close to 100,000 applications. For UC Irvine alone, this past year, we received 71,000 applications. So for us trying to get through all the applications and trying to make a decision, right? That, I mean, it could actually impact your life dramatically. And so you don't want to take a chance by omitting something that is important to you. You want to be able to thoroughly explain that and share that piece of who you are with us in that personal statement section. Okay, so make sure that you take that very seriously, and it's very important that you share that personal statement to maybe someone you know, your family, your friends, or even someone that might be your acquaintance, and see like, hey, can you read this and see if, and maybe reiterate it to me if you understand this correctly, right? So you can kind of like reflect on like, did I explain that right? Is that a true reflection of who I am? Is that the story I want to tell the admission counselor? Because I'm going to be reading your application and I'm like a complete stranger. So I have no clue of your background, you know, your upbringing or whatsoever. So you need to make sure that you explain this part very well. So we talked already about the personal statement. You can look up the personal statement prompts online, or even if you Google them, you should be able to see the prompts right away. For those who are not applying this year, you can kind of prepare yourself, you know, by doing research on like, okay, what will I have to write for next year? We kind of went through this already. So just to give you an idea, this fall 2015, we received over 71,000 freshman applications, and we had offered 27,000 of those applicants a spot on our campus. Of course, not every single one of them decided to come to UCI. So approximately around a little bit over 5,000 students will show up this fall. And technically the admissions rate at UC Irvine is roughly 38%. So it is not as selective as UC Berkeley or UCLA, but it is certainly more selective than some of the campuses that you may be considering. So just bear in mind that, that's kind of like our selectivity. And out of the 71,000 students, we have a lot of international students apply. For those who were admitted, 23% of those represent international students. As far as the admitted student profile this year, the mean GPA, and this is drawn from your 10th and 11th grade coursework, and we only look at the weighted GPA. For some of you who are in like the national curriculum, you're not going to have any weighted GPA because it only applies to students who have AP courses or IB higher level coursework completed. So for the mean GPA, it's a 4.04. Once again, it's drawn from your 10th and 11th coursework. For mean SAT, it's 1875. It doesn't mean that if you don't have this 1875, you're not going to be admitted. It's not like a cutoff, right, score where it's like, nope, if you're below this line, it's like you're out of the loop. I just want to show you this number so that you have an idea of like where you need to be somewhat competitive when you apply to UC Irvine, right? Ultimately, we look at everything, right? We talked about comprehensive review process. We still look at your activities. We still look at your leadership involvement, right? We look at what are some courses you've completed so far in your high school. We also look at your GPA. We also look at, the awards, and we also look at your, personal statement. Maybe you have experienced like a trauma in your life, but you still are doing, exceedingly well in school. I mean, we all take that into consideration, and so that's why just your SAT or your GPA alone will not dictate if you're in or not. Okay. So once again, the UC application is available August 1st. The deadline is November 30th. And you do have until December of the same year to take your final SAT or ACT. Okay. That means you can still take your standardized tests even after the deadline. And then once you're done, make sure you send those in. And we should be releasing the decisions in right around March of the following year. And you have until May to make a decision. And that is pretty much the deadline for all of the UC campuses, is that it's the November 30th, and right around March is when they release decisions. So if you have any questions, I do have my business cards with me, so I'll pass that around. Or if you feel like you might lose my business card, usually students would just take a picture of my contact information so that you can email me if you have any questions later on. Usually you'll probably have